Hey, welcome to Danette Gets Creative. I'm Danette. Welcome back to Scrappy Doll Part 4. Last week we worked on the monogram, and this week I'm going to use material bits to add some color. So I chose a color wave, and I'm going to use little bits and pieces to add some design and interest to the dress. So what I'm doing right here is I've taken the bigger pieces of material and I'm going to tear them into 1-inch strips. I love that frayed edge. So the reason why I'm tearing is so I can get that rustic, rough edge that I'm going to use to create these little squares that you're going to see me place on the bottom. So I've got a selection of colors and I'm just going to cut simple little squares. And you can see that I'm arranging them, some on top, some below. I'm putting them very close to the very bottom of my dress, which if you remember from before, I used an old pillowcase. So it already had that decorative little scalloped edge. And now I'm just using these pieces of material, layering them up, and I'm going to create a pattern all the way around the bottom of this skirt. Putting some on top, putting some under, moving them around until I'm happy with the pattern. And then as you can see, I'm going to pin them. Takes a little bit of time with all these little 1-inch-ish squares to make your way around the bottom. But as you'll see, I'm just putting in the finishing touches here, making the two sides meet up. I'm going to pin them all down. And you'll see here in a moment that I use simple sewing machine cotton thread in white to sew down the pieces of scraps. And I'm just going to make a running stitch through the middle of all of the squares so that I can get rid of the pins. I don't know about you, but I certainly hate pinning myself and poking myself. So the sooner I can get those pins out, the happier I am and the easier the project goes. So I'm going to thread up my needle here after I show you the bottom. Threading up my needle, and I'm going to sew that simple running stitch down the middle to get rid of those pins. So here you can see that I'm just doing the simple running stitch up and down, removing those pins as quickly as I can. And I'm just running through the middle just to secure it. You're going to see shortly that once I'm finished securing all the little pieces, all the little squares, I'm going to go around, oops, there we go. I'm going to go around the edge of some of the squares to further secure them. So I'm going to just keep going here with my running stitch, removing those pins. And then you'll see that I'm just going to speed it up here and be finished. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to go around each of the individual squares to hold them down. Okay, by the power of fast forwarding and editing, we're all done stitching down the running stitch in the middle. And now what you can see is I'm going around again with the white sewing machine cotton, and I'm going around the square, around the edges and securing it down. And what you're going to notice here is I'm going to do a few in white, and then I'm going to switch colors and do some with different colors. So I'm doing each square around the edge in the running stitch, tying it off, skipping over a few, there we go, skipping over a few of the squares, and then I'm going to do the same thing, just go around the edge, doing the little running stitch, securing it down, Then I will tie it off, knot it off on the back, and I continue going here until my white thread runs out. Spacing them probably maybe every 4 or 5. I'm going to do in white, and then you'll see here in a moment, after I finish a couple of squares, you'll see that I'm going to change my colors to green, pink, and yellow? Let's see if I remember here. Oh yes, pink, green, and blue. So I did some in white, and now I'm going to go back and alternate these colors until all of the squares have been stitched around and secured. Okay, now all the squares are secured down with white, blue, pink, or green. Now I'm going to use the same material colors that I had earlier for the bottom, and I want to place some patches or some little clusters on the main body of the dress. So I'm going to focus around the pocket right now, laying down a few. I don't want to take away from the beauty of the embroidery that we did last week on our monogram, but I do want to put a few colors there, just so that it kind of matches and ties in with the trim around the bottom. And for this, I don't use pen, I just grab my trusty little glue stick, stick those down, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to the embroidery part of the skirt. Again, remembering that this was a pillowcase, so that embroidery was already there. And what I want to do is I want to add some more similar colors just to sort of frame out the embroidery a little bit. You see that I placed it on the right there, but I changed my mind and put it on the left because my monogram is not very far away from this embroidered piece. So I wanted to put it on the other side. So I end up putting 3 or 4 pieces down here. Again, I'm going to use my glue stick just to secure them instead of pins. And then I'm going to move on to the back of the dress where there's a bigger section that has just that blank material, just that white material. And I'm going to lay down a bigger cluster of these materials. And then, just like I did around the edge of the bottom of the skirt, I'm just going to use my white machine cotton, and I'm just going to do a series of running stitches to hold down the materials that I've put on. So I'm going to sew this one up again with just that running stitch that we've been doing all along, holding down these little bits of fabric. Then you'll see here shortly that all of the other pieces that I placed down will be sewn. And I even include a little tiny cluster up on the front of the dress. So get creative, add as little or as not so little, as much as you want to embellish your dress. And just, have fun. Put it down, play with it, create something that you believe to be beautiful and that you're happy with. And then next week, we're going to get into doing more embellishing. Next week, I want to embellish with things like doilies, lace, maybe some embroidery. So between now and next Wednesday, when I post my next video, you might want to consider looking around for other things to embellish. So once our scrappy bits are down, things like doilies, lace, other bits of embroidery maybe that you found on old embroidery pieces. And I'm even going to bring out my embroidery threads and add some more embroidery. So hopefully you stick around next week and you come back for Scrappy part number 5, where we're going to do some further embellishing. I hope you're having fun on this adventure. I know I am. It is a fun process. I'm excited every week to see where my imagination takes me. And I hope you guys and gals out there, whoever's come along on this adventure, is having as much fun as me. So stick here, check out these last little bits of embellishing, and thanks again for watching, and I hope you're all doing well, and take care, and I will see you again soon.